going on in Kashmir, where there are some 800,000 Indian troops basically keeping 8 million people, Kashmiri people, in an open prison. And every right of theirs is violated. They talk about women's rights in Afghanistan, but there are about, what, 40,000 Kashmiri women that have been raped by the security forces, and all sorts of human rights abuses. This has been well documented by the Human Rights Commissioner of the United Nations. So, unfortunately, until they go back to taking the statehood of Kashmir on 5th August 2019, until they go back, unfortunately, we cannot resume a normal relationship with them.
Mr. Prime Minister, what do you think if Pakistan decides to stop testing of ballistic missiles? Do you think it will somehow help to improve relationships between your countries?
Pakistan is almost 7 times smaller than India. And, you know, we always heard the argument that the reason why Israel must have missiles and nuclear weapons because Israel is tiny and they are surrounded by hostile neighbors. So what about Pakistan? We had 3 wars with India till 1971. And ever since we've had the nuclear deterrence, actually there has been no war between us. So really for a small country which has a hostile neighbor 7 times the size, actually it is your only protection. But I wish that we would resolve our difference with India, which is Kashmir. And if that is resolved, I would actually, go for a nuclear-free zone. In fact, I would go for a nuclear-free world.
So recently you had a discussion with Mr. Putin, President of Russia, with regard to the Afghanistan situation. How would you assess, how would you evaluate the current stage of relationships between Pakistan, Islamic Republic of Pakistan and Russian Federation, not only in the government but also at the level of the countries?
I think our relationship is improving. I have, you know, the few times I've met, a couple of times I've met President Putin. We have a very good relationship and understanding. I've spoken to him twice on the phone now. And we want to improve our relationship between Pakistan and Russia. Our concern is the situation in Afghanistan. In fact, all the countries around Afghanistan, at the moment, the main concern is that Afghanistan should not descend into chaos. So we all agree on that, and we all agree that there should be an inclusive government in Afghanistan which would bring stability there. Because our main concern is that instability in Afghanistan would have repercussions all around. All the neighbors will sooner or later be affected by that. So I was looking forward to meeting President Putin here, but because of his isolation due to COVID-19, he couldn't come. But I am meeting the foreign minister of Russia.
Sir, and the last question with regard to relationships of Pakistan with Arab world. We all know that Pakistan was acting as an intermediate during the conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia recently. And in terms of closing the position of Arab world with others, what do you think, what's your assessment about the role of Pakistan? Whether you're still going to play that role of the moderator in this regard?
Iran is a neighbor, and so therefore you have to live with your neighbor. And the more civilized you are with your neighbor, the better it is in terms of trade and for the whole region. Saudi Arabia has been Pakistan's closest ally, a friend which has helped Pakistan in the past when we've needed them. And so therefore, our main interest is that there should be understanding between these two countries. What would be disastrous for Pakistan is if there's a conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran, not just for Pakistan. It would be a disaster for the developing world, because
News.